All right, wonderful. We're at it again, episode 17.
Wow.
Thank you, Savvy, for being here. My name is Tah and Savvy and I have been discussing all things health and wellness and our Lifewave patches. And today we have a special treat because Savvy just came back from the Lifewave conference and has some important topics to report. So I'm curious because I'm not even sure. I wasn't there. So it's nice to have somebody on the grassroots and the floor out there filling us with the notes. You know, he said he took a lot of notes, and that's what we're going to talk about. We'll see what unfolds. But first of all, Savvy, can you introduce yourself for those people who don't know who you are and what you do? That would be nice. Just a nice intro, please.
Yeah. So my passion is all things health related. And my main focus really over the last 5 years, I've been all things health for about 30 years, but for the last 5 years, it's really been focusing on detoxification. So I became sort of a detoxification specialist. That's been my thing. And so cleaning bodies out, starting with my own, right? And then I became involved in what's called lymphatic iridology, which is reading the iris in the eye, sort of looking into the eye and figuring out where people have lymphatic congestion, right? Which can lead to deterioration of tissue. And then as we clean their bodies out, you can see literally the eye change for the better. And so that's a fascinating science, is iridology. And then, of course, in my background, I trained in massage techniques. I trained with essential oils. I trained with actual training, as in functional exercise or corrective exercise, right? Working with a lot of older folks with balance, the fact that they're losing bone density and muscle mass, things like that. And then, of course, I became a nutritional coach through the Food Matters Institute. I've been working now lately with Dr. Ed Group on, again, getting to the root cause of illness, which is generally going to be found, again, in toxicity issues and or poor diets, lack of exercise, lack of stretching, breath work, like with you, you're an expert in that. So it's really all things health. And then when I came across the work of Bruce Lipton and Royal Rife and Nikola Tesla and these types of people, I went into the world of light, healing with light, which is what you and I do together, and structured water, actually. So structured water and light are the latest and greatest things for me. And I think the future is going to uncover a lot more healing modalities in the world of light and structured water. So that's where we're currently at. And of course, Lifewave, the company that you and I both work with, that is their focus is on light frequency patches. And as you mentioned, the conference was just a couple of weeks ago. And as you mentioned, I took about 8 pages of notes on that. And I want to share that because there's a vision for the future involved here. And what I want to do with this podcast is give people hope that we can free up your future in the world of your health, but also in the world of your wealth as well, because there's an amazing opportunity. And the founder of Lifewave has a vision, a 20-year vision going forward of how we can free up our future outside of federal government, outside of the manufacturing of food, the way they've industrialized our food, outside of even state governments and these gigantic corporations enslaving people in these 9-to-5 jobs where they barely get by. and then the federal government taxing them to death, that there's a better way than that. And to open people's eyes that even the school system, whether it's kindergarten to 12th grade and on into college as well, that there's been a programming happening there to program people into the employee box where they can tax them at the highest rates. And even with the women going out into the workforce and the children suffering a little bit, because you've got husband and wife in the workforce, and maybe the children are being raised in what are these little what are they called, Tah, where they send the kids off to school over here, and strangers
Daycare.
Daycare, yeah, in daycare, and then some of the horrible things that have happened in daycares. So it's kind of a breakdown of the family unit a little bit, chasing money just to get by, right? And so I think there's a better way. And Lifewave, after this convention, since our company is so unique with what we offer with light frequency patches and working in the world of stem cells and lowering inflammation, there's quite the opportunity to make more money, a lot more money than you can on a 9-to-5 job. And Robert Kiyosaki, who I'm currently reading a book by him that's called Fake. This is it here. It's called Fake. And in this book, he talks about what I just mentioned about school, how the school has become a programming factory, pushing people out not to think for themselves and not to question, and being afraid of getting an F, getting afraid of failure, and the fact that instead of cooperating in groups with others, they want you to take the test by yourself. And if you talk to others, it's called cheating.
Right. Yes. And it's all about the frequency. I was just, as you were speaking, realizing that if people are even watching this podcast, that they're on a different frequency. They're on a frequency of the light because we're Lifewave. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? The frequency has to match. If you're even attracted to what we are offering in our in the podcast that we've had before, then already the frequency has a sort of a match. And so the school system has eliminated that identity to be the highest frequency that you can be. You lost touch with the true essence of our highest self. And it's just over and over and over again. You're not good enough. You're going to get an F.
That's right. That's right. And then they come out of school saying things like, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying things like, how can I afford this?
Yeah. And I'm worthy of this. And that
I deserve it.
And then I can surrender into nature to help support me. The group thing, like you were just talking about, that is very, very powerful. Not to underestimate the fact that we're not meant to do it alone. The village is a real thing. My daughter and I were just discussing that with the children. These single these moms even just thinking that they have to raise their children alone. They have a brand new baby, they have a toddler, and they're expected to parent all by themselves. Where is the extended family to help them in that? And then there's sadness and depression and postpartum, and it's really difficult for the moms right now. So difficult.
That's right. And a lot of this, I've come to realize, a lot of this is by design. And so whether people realize it or not, there are what they call the elites out there that live outside and above what we're all doing out here. And they've set this system up for you to literally serve them, kind of. They're invisible. They're the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
And they've kept you chasing your tail unbeknownst to you, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. And these people have slaved. It's a form of slavery, actually.
Yep.
And so what we're trying to do is open the eyes of folks, because what we have here, our industry, which is called networking, network marketing, has also been misconstrued as being something illegal, like it's a pyramid, or we're taking advantage of people. When in fact, the 9-to-5 CEO corporation structure is actually the one that's built like the pyramid. Ours is built like a network, layers and layers. The one there is built like a pyramid. So there's a lot of lies that have been told, and it's a programming, and there's a design to it. Just like there's a design to spraying all of our crops with glyphosate, to where they can own all the seeds, and individual local farmers can be put out of business. The fact that they're automating everything, which is also eliminating jobs. And if they don't eliminate the job altogether, they've made the job to where it's not high paying anymore. It doesn't pay enough because part of it has been automated. And then when you do get paid, they tax you at the highest rate. So then mommy and daddy have to go to work, both. And now you're double taxed. Mommy and daddy are both taxed.
Right.
And so it takes a hit on the children.
Yep.
It
Yep.
takes a hit on the children.
So you've piqued our interest. So I love the fact that the vision is getting bigger for Lifewave, that there's a bigger plan to encompass all of these new, like water and food. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
water and food.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, first of all, I will tell you, since the X39 has come out, which is, I believe, right about 4 years, roundabout, the growth of Lifewave has increased 200 times. The revenue coming in has increased by 200 times. And that's because this particular patch, even though we have to be careful what we say now, because the FDA is trying to make stem cells a drug. And so now we have to be very careful. We have to say, even on this podcast, that we do not, we're not promoting cures. We're not diagnosing anything. We're not making any claims. That all we're doing is encouraging the body to heal itself. But the fact is for almost 4 years, we've been talking about the X39 elevates GHK copper peptides, which then can activate stem cells. But the FDA now is wanting to try to make stem cells a drug. So we have to be careful what we say.
But as a representative of Lifewave, I'm still saying activation patch. That's absolutely fine, right?
Yeah, and so all we have to do is direct people to reverseagingwithghk.com, which is a website that's not Lifewave's. So reverseagingwithghk.com, and everything you see on that site, the patches do. We have a patent. We have a 20-year patent on the patch. We have about over 70 patents on regenerative medicine with the patches. You can't get those. They don't just hand them out. You have to prove that what you're saying happens, right? So it's a bit of a crime that I can watch a sporting event like I did last week, and every single commercial break, they directly market to me mRNA vaccines. Every commercial break, they marketed to me mRNA vaccines, or ask your doctor about this drug, or ask your doctor about that drug. But I can't, I'm limited on what I can say about a light frequency patch. That's the double standard that's going on here. But I just want to let you know that Lifewave has exploded with the X39 patch. Exploded. And people need to realize that they can join us and have a better way. In fact, am I able to share screen?
I'll give you permission right now. There you go. Awesome. Yeah, go for it.
All right, let me share screen for a second. This is the cash flow quadrant right here, okay? So the majority of the world, 95% actually, are on the left side, and they're employees and they have jobs. They don't have any leverage though. So if they're not punching the clock and doing whatever they do, they don't get paid. If they're not at work, they don't get paid, period. And it's the same with the self-employed person, even if they have a franchise, even if they own a Subway. Well, actually, a Subway would be a business owner. A Subway owner would be a business owner. But a self-employed person could be, for example, like a doctor even, if they have their own clinic, or a real estate agent like I have been for 18 years. Once the house sells, you're out of work again. You're out of work again. You have to go find another house. But if you can become a business owner, which is what you become, if you were to join Tah or myself with Lifewave, you're instantly a business owner and you have a system. We have a whole system that's already in place. And now you're on the right side of the quadrant, which is where 95% of all the wealth is. So if 95% of the wealth is on the right, that means the rest of the world are all battling over 5% of what's left. And these two quadrants, the employee and self-employed quadrants, are taxed the highest of anybody. So you're working the hardest and getting taxed the most. So over here, if we own a system and we have people working with us, like it says there, people work with you. In my case, and I just looked prior to us getting on, I am about 36 people shy of having 20,000 people working with me to leverage. 20,000. So Tah, if I'm an employee, what is the most I can work a week without just killing myself? Well, I've done it. How about 60 hours? 60 hours a week, but you have no life. You're beat up at 60 hours a week. But on this right side of the quadrant, if I have 20,000 people and I cut that in half, and I said that only 10,000 of them work at all, and they only work 1 hour a week, and that's it. That is still 10,000 hours a week I do not, because I'm leveraging those people. They're helping me. And that's the beauty of what we have. We have a system of leverage. And then if you can start cash flowing quite a bit, more than the average American, and I just read it in this fake book, the average family in America, all 50 states, they do about $76,000 a year. That's the average. And then as a single person, single mom, single dad, they're doing about $44,500 at best on average a year. That's terrible. You are not going to get to the promised land that way. Forget it. It's not going to happen. Now, if I can start making $1,000 a week, so what is that? Is that $4,000 a month? times 12 is 48,000 a year. And then all of a sudden I get more and more partners and I'm doing 2,000 a week times 4 times 12. And I'm already at 96,000 a year. So it doesn't take me long. And I said, I've got 20,000. I just mentioned a couple of thousand people helping us. We can double what other people are making. And then you can become an investor. So what would you invest in? Real estate is something you could do. Cryptocurrencies is something you can do. Gold and silver you can do, right? You could actually maybe open up a shop, something that you, like for example, with Tah, you could open up your own yoga studio and then another one and another one and another one. So you could leverage yourself as an investor that way too. And then eventually maybe you sell the studios. You could sell them as well. So it just opens up options, is what I'm saying. Now, let me show you something at Lifewave that you're going to find interesting, because prior to us starting to record, we talked about drones. What did you mention to me about drones?
Yes, I have a good friend who is designing drones to deliver to your home. And
They
it's
mentioned
probably happening. I haven't researched it, but I bet it's up and running and the drones are delivering food. I think
so,
the thing is food. Yeah.
food. So it was mentioned at the convention by David Schmidt, who is the CEO and the inventor of our technology, that the drone industry will be worth 200 billion a year by 2030. And he talked about drones will be delivering food and other things, like via Amazon, as an example. Well, David Schmidt also built a drone. And I'm going to play you this 55-second video so you can see the drone that he built.
I'm not sure if we can hear the sound.
You don't need to hear it that much. Just take a look what happened.
Okay.
Should we go back?
Yeah, try it. So we don't need the sound?
The sound is great, but we technically don't need it.
Okay.
Let this commercial finish and then we'll do it.
Okay.
Defender shield. Then I'm going to tell you about this drone.
I have to say it's beautiful. The lines are gorgeous.
And it's a very large drone. This drone that we're looking at is for humanitarian efforts, rescue, search and rescue. So this particular drone built by David Schmidt, and this is where our company is going. We're going also into the world of humanitarian work. And you mentioned the world of food and the world of clean, beautiful, structured water, and the world of telecommunications in case of blackouts. This particular drone is going to be able to get up to 700 miles an hour in flight. And unlike anybody else that could not even do it, like Lockheed Martin, this man has figured out a way to keep this drone in the air for 40 hours and be able to land this one and the other drone he built on the beach to deliver 600 pounds of rescue payload, whether it's food, medical supplies, whatever. So instead of taking a week to get to people in Maui or people in an earthquake disaster, he'll be able to get there in less than a day, not a week.
Wow.
If somebody is lost at sea, This thing can hover over the ocean. And the other drone he built, even in 15-mile-an-hour winds with rain, and stay up there for 40 hours in the air searching for somebody lost at sea. With lasers and infrared sensors, etc., to find these people. This has nothing to do with patches, but the patches have funded this type of work. And so now, instead of just a light frequency patch company, we are now a technology company. And so David Schmidt wants to use this technology here, even though this is a search and rescue drone, take this technology on a smaller scale so we can use it in our own personal lives. And he wants to give it some type of telecommunication technology in case of blackouts. And so by the time we get done with drone technology, food, water, light frequency for your health, all spectrums of health, inflammation, energy, sleeping better, activating of GHK copper peptides into the world of stem cell technology, etc., that we can have a life outside of mainstream because of what we know governments are trying to do with food and water and medical tyranny on what we can do and put into our own bodies via mandates, laws, etc. And while we're doing it, cleaning up the planet and cash flow doing it. Cash flow doing it. And that's the action.
This is the back to the CFO, CEO at the top not sharing the wealth. This way, when we create products when David Schmidt creates ideas and manifests these technology, he is doing it for all of us. And he's sharing in the wealth, allowing us to be a part of this. I understand on a big scale what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that this is the way that wealth is distributed. Wealth is distributed this way.
That's right. And so in the world of the history of money, when you get into studies like with Robert Kiyosaki here, in the history of money, all the way back to, say, ancient Rome even, Rome heavily taxed the population. It was brutal. And so pretty much there was a ruling class and everybody else was kind of poor. And that has continued down, even though America is supposed to be the land of the free. It's happened here too. And that there's a group of people that want to basically be a ruling class. And so this whole system of 9 to 5, 40, 50, and 60 hours a week, it's outdated. It's an outdated concept. And what we have is, I will make this particular year, I will make 6 figures for sure, but I only work about 10 hours a week, not 60. So what do we do with the other 50 hours that we saved? You do whatever you want to do. That's what you do, whatever you want. Like I've gotten back into hitting tennis balls and going to the gym. And you and I talked about superhuman protocol for our health. And with the extra money and less hours, you're able to be generous and help everybody else in your life, your family members, your friends. You're helping them. You're generous now because you can, and it doesn't hurt you to be generous. Because outside of infidelity, for destruction of marriage, for divorce, coming in second, close second, is money problems, financial burden. Tell me what kind of stress that puts on a person. when it's
It's incredible stress. And we are living in San Diego. I am living in San Diego. You're in Idaho. And it was just, we are the most expensive city in the United States. So when I go out there, there is so much chaos and so much stress. You can feel the frequency. I love frequency, the frequency of surviving and lack, sacrifice and lack is out there. I'm sacrificing all of my time, 40, 60 hours a week. And then the lack, because you have to skimp, you have to not do those things that are extracurricular activities. You just do this and you just shop, and then the food too, to eat healthy costs money. So then they're buying the cheapest food, right?
They're buying the cheapest food. And then and then that leads to a degradation of their health, which then puts them into mainstream medicine, who because of insurance and or Medicare, Medicaid, they put them on the pharmaceuticals because they can't afford to go to a naturopathic doctor that insurance does not cover because it's out of pocket and they can't do it.
Yeah.
So another thing that frees up here, when you can make six figures in less time by leveraging other people's time, just like the ruling class tries to do, right? Living off of 350 million Americans, right? You're able now to buy the better food, and you're able to go exercise. You have the time to do it. It's all about time that we're trying to free up here.
Yep.
It's about the time. And I will tell you that it was brought out at the conference that Lifewave now is so amped up that they're producing 1.2 million patches per day.
Wow, I love that.
And we have, a 30-day supply. We call it a sleeve. They're doing 700,000 sleeves per month now. And so this company,
because I think that all the time,
Yeah, our company's not new. It's 19 years old. It's not a new startup. It's in like 84 countries. It's international. And so for somebody to join you or me as a partner, you can start for as little as $125. And what do you get for that? Well, you get 30-day supply of patches. You also get your own website that's free and international. You also get a phone app that's free. You also get a system that's in place. You get 2 other websites, 5 Telegram channels, and a network of thousands upon thousands of people to help you. It's international. What comes with that? You get 14 distribution centers around the world, all the warehousing, all the science and development, all of the shipping. You have customer service agents. All the stuff is already in place. You have a brilliant inventor who's in the lab as we speak, coming up with new things that are going to be technologically advanced for everybody, including cleaning up the earth. Our patches, since it's a little sticky device like a Band-Aid that goes on you, I know that he's currently working on a recycling program because there's like 100 million tons of plastics in the oceans. And so we want to come up with a recycling program because one of the other goals is to clean up the planet, as well. Now, could you imagine being with a company that's contributing to cleansing our earth and you get paid to do that? So we have this Free Up Your Future podcast because I feel we have the best way out there. There's other companies that do a great job networking, but they don't have what we have. I mean, we don't have a Me Too product, another shake, or another oil. This is completely unique on all of the planet. That's one of the things. Can you imagine being with a company that these particular items, these products, you can't get them anywhere else on the earth? You have to come here to get them, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm here, because many network marketing companies have come and gone in my life. And this is the one that has stayed for me because it is incredibly unique, right?
Unique.
And Jeremy actually said this. He goes, I just love the fact that I don't have to take another supplement. I don't, and that it's just this external thing, this light energy, frequency energy on my body. And yeah, so it's absolutely has stayed in my life for, and I've been with Lifewave for 3.5 years. And it's just this year that I've started, working from the inside out, where I am confident enough to share. Because that's what it comes down to, Savvy. People are not in their own skin, comfortable with themselves to be able to articulate the benefits comfortably. They don't want to bother people. They don't think that they don't want to be salesy, or you know what I mean? And so it's internal growth to be confident enough to share something that is sharing is caring, to be able
and
to
you know what, Tom?
articulate.
That goes back again. I think that goes back again to the programming, and I'm going to use the word programming, that has happened in school. Because in school, I'm going to read a list here. In school, especially in elementary, middle, and high school, students are punished for making mistakes. They get an F. They view cooperation as cheating. They make you take tests by yourself on your own. Discourage you from asking for help, discourage you from helping others. And they grade you on a bell curve, A, B, C, D, F. That programming is what leads us into our older lives as adults, being afraid to share. I might sound stupid, right? I might be laughed at or ridiculed. Even David Schmidt talked about it. He talked about it in his life as an inventor and a scientist. He was also ridiculed, and he too was laughed at. And he is a genius. And he was ridiculed and laughed out too. So if the founder and CEO worked through it, right? That's also an encouragement for us. That's a cheerleading thing that we need to get out of this programming, because sharing is caring, like you just said. And by the way, we have websites. You don't have to be an expert. You send them to the site and the website does it for you. All you have to do is care about their health. You don't want to see them suffering. So you say, hey, I have something that might help you. Go here and look.
Yeah. And I felt that real sense of tribe and community when I started doing the Q&As. Remember, Savvy? We've done 2 of them, and it's really supportive of me and my people, right? So we all come on and we just chatting, and anybody who has a question. So it feels like we're in a tribe instead of all alone. That's
right. And that's what people need to know, is you are not all alone. And we actually want to help you.
Yeah.
Because the way it works here is the more I help you, the more I also help myself. So the more I can help you be successful, the better it is for me. Unlike your 9-to-5 corporation jobs, where if Tah is so talented, I'm threatened by her that
Yeah.
she might take my job. The last thing I want to do is help her. I'd like to get rid of her because she's threatening my job because of her talent. That's not what we do here. Here, we praise everybody's individual talents, and that makes our team. We're a team now.
Yeah.
And so in the world of a term called biomimetics, and David talked about this at the conference, biomimetics is studying nature and trying to bring technology into our lives to make our lives better from studying nature. For example, he talked about spiderweb silk. Spiderweb silk is so powerful tensile strength-wise that he could develop a coat or a shirt that could stop a bullet with spiderweb silk. But it's biodegradable, unlike a lot of the plastics, and it will not pollute the earth. So he's thinking in terms of, what can I do with spider silk? Well, he studies, for example, lobsters as to how can they live to be 150 years plus. And as they age, they get stronger instead of weaker. How do they do that? Well, the answer was found in the blood. And it was based on the trace mineral copper and the trace mineral iron. And so he studies that. Well, look what the other side of the street does. They also study nature and want to take venom peptides from cobras and crate snakes and poison people with them. That's biomimetics on the negative side. So it's good that we have somebody looking after us on the positive side. Okay.
I love you, Savvy. That's, wow. You just brought it to light and dark. Light and dark is kind of what's going on. Where there's a battle between the light and the dark. And so, in essence, this whole discussion is, what side are you going to be on?
It's called duality. And so you have duality. You have testosterone over here, estrogen over here, male over here, female over here, light over here, dark over here. What side do you want to be on? Look around. My father just passed away 3 weeks ago. And his whole life, he never really quite got there. If you're a person who loves life, loves beauty, the beautiful beaches, the sunrise, the sunset, the mountains, the lake, the ocean, if you love what we have here, the gift of life here, then what we have here in our group at Lifewave, we have the ability to get even younger in a sense. The technology that we use with our patches, structured water that's coming, the type of food that's coming that's infused with light, it's all based on reverse aging technology, getting younger and feeling good all of the time. It's like we're creating our own economy and our own lifestyle outside of mainstream. Because what they have coming for us is you'll be forced to have an electric car. You have no other choice but to have an electric car. And these things put out a lot of EMF radiation, a lot. So we have to prepare now a 20-year plan to be in the light versus some of this negativity out there. And that's what I was getting out of this conference, is David is thinking 20 years in the future on how to get out of that mainstream negativity. And we have our own little world that we're living in over here, but we're inviting everybody to come in. Because when I mentioned that they do 700,000 sleeves a month and 1.2 million patches per day. They have the capability in place right now to do 1 billion. So we can grow into $1 billion company because they already have the infrastructure in place to handle that now. And then by the end of 2024, it's going to jump to 2 billion. So we're prepared now already for that growth. So there's plenty of room for everybody out there. So with what I make right now a month, me personally, and there's people that do way more than me, but what I figured from what I currently make right now, you would have to have invested, by the way, invested making about a 5% interest rate net after fees, after taxes. You would have to have about $8 to $9 million invested making that interest to match what I cash flow now. And as I mentioned at the start of this podcast, the average American family does about $76,000 a year. They're not going to get there that way. So even if you come join us part-time, which is what almost everybody does, they join part-time on the side while they're still doing their mainstream work. But imagine how you feel when you wake up in the morning knowing, I have a plan B that Tah has proven works, Savy has proven works, thousands of others have proven it works. I just have to plug into the system with them and start working it. And slowly but surely, my plan B will eventually replace the plan A.
Yeah.
And now
yeah.
you're a business owner.
Right. And I keep coming back to how the patches elevate so much the inner consciousness. Like it literally taps into higher consciousness, I feel.
I do too.
So esoterical. I have yoga, a meditation, breath work. I feel the frequencies more. I'm very sensitive. So even if you don't believe in anything that we're talking about, just to implement the patches in your daily life for 90 days, you will feel the transformation.
I think it elevates your cognition, right? To where now you're thinking a little bit at a higher level, and you can get out of the programming that's been done to us our whole life. You sort of like wake up to it.
Yeah,
you
it's
wake
magic.
up to it and you're like, wait a minute. So there are options, and I could do something else and escape from this slavery.
Yep.
Because it's kind of a slavery thing.
Yep.
And that's why the people turn to the junk foods, and they turn to the alcohols, and they turn to the recreational drugs, because it's a numbing thing, because they don't have anything else to really look forward to, like maybe a 2-week vacation a year. And I'll do that when I go out and about, and it's coming to the close of this year. I'll ask people, hey, where did you go this year? Did you have a vacation or anything? Did you go on a trip? No, we just went camping for the weekend. And they don't have enough life. It's too much work, not enough life. We're flipping that.
Yep.
We're flipping that. So in the convention, one of the phrases was this, a takeaway: love God, work hard, and take care of each other. That was kind of a little theme. And I love that, because David Schmidt, he's a real lover of God. In fact, another thing he came up with, which he called pandemic proof, by the way, that's what he called it, is this hologram technology, where there he is, full body, standing there talking to you, even though he's in another country. And it's live. And he can take his hologram image and do a podcast like we're doing in the United States, Canada, Belgium, Estonia, and Mexico, all at the same time live with hologram technology. And he showed it.
I have to see that. Did he
Yeah.
demonstrate it?
Yeah, he demonstrated it. Yeah. And then Howie Mandel came on, who is sort of a spokesman now for Lifewave. And Howie Mandel, of course, was a comedian, and now he does game show things or entertainment shows like America's Got Talent type of thing. And he came on, and I don't know where he was, but he comes on and he's able to see the entire arena of all the people, and they can all see him, but it's a hologram. And so David now has hologram technology. He's got a really big one you can use, and then a small one you can use in your house.
Oh my gosh. Just like in Star Wars when they deliver the message.
Or Star Trek, because he was talking about that. So in any event, of course, he went into a lot of health things, for example, like cardiovascular health. And, we've talked about that. You and I, we've done stuff on that. And then he talked about weight training and diet and all the other stuff that goes along with our patches. But yeah, they did mention that they just opened up South Korea is another country now that is with our group. So now we're, I guess, in 84, 85 countries, and that there's an explosion happening in Thailand. And what's amazing about our company and that we're international is that everybody in every country, all the main people, not the governments, but just the regular people living their lives, all of us, we all want the same thing. We all want the same things. We want to have quality food, clothing, and shelter, and be able to love our friends and family. That's all we want. It's the governments that want power and control and greed and all of that. It's the problems are the governments. The people everywhere want the same things.
Yeah,
we're actually united.
Bringing it back to that, it is the same. Family, friends, home, good food. Yeah.
That's all we want.
Yeah.
It's not like we want to control others. We actually want to help them. We're wanting to help them. And so just know that this little podcast was, yes, it was a review of our conference, but it's really kind of a call to action because we do want more partners. There's 7.8 billion people on the earth, and most of them are living in straight up poverty.
Yeah.
Poverty. And it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. And so,
right. So, what should people do? What should people do?
They reach out to you.
Email me.
They reach out to you on your links. Email you. If my email is on there, email me too, and we can show you.
Yeah. So go ahead and share your email.
My email is YGY, like yes, God, yes, YGY, Savy, SAVY, @gmail.com. Email us and put yourself in business, not by yourself. You have lots of people to help you, but put yourself in business. Go into the B quadrant, business owner, because now you can just absolutely slash your tax burden. Nobody really talks about that much because taxes are such a destroyer of wealth. Like in this country, I believe the federal tax is illegal, actually. And it is what takes most of the check. Most people work till like July before they really start making their own real first dollar. Half their paycheck is going for taxes, and the country is still in debt. So I don't know what they do with those taxes, but they don't do anything good with them. So if you can lower your tax burden, that alone is headed towards wealth just by doing that. And then, of course, your cost of running your business here at Lifewave is pathetically cheap. I mean, I probably, if I'm going to do six figures this year, my overhead at the most is like $200 a month
Yeah,
at the most.
so good. We love that.
So it costs nothing to run it basically, but you can make so much more than you're doing on a 9 to 5.
Oh, Savvy, thank you so much for doing these. This was a different take on what we usually do, but I enjoyed it because you know
Yeah.
me. I love all things, but I especially love health. So I enjoy our health shows. So if you haven't watched any of those shows where we did the colon, liver, detoxing, water, we did copper peptides. So again, we're on our
Yeah.
17th show, so there's a lot to watch. So if you're just new to Savvy and I, definitely go back to my Healing Touch Vinyasa YouTube channel and watch those shows. And any last, well, my email. So if you want to contact me directly, it's Tahgroen, TAHGROEN, at my name, Tahgroen, TAHGROEN.com. You can get a hold of me that way. So good. So any last just inspiring, yeah, you inspire me with abundance. I love abundance mindset, and you epitomize that for all of us because of the success that you've had, or you are having and growing. So just by association, I am getting that frequency within my being. But do you have any words of wisdom on how you got to this place?
Well, in my opinion, it was sort of like I was already following my natural instincts, which was health and wanting to feel good all the time. But I don't just want it for me. I want everybody to feel good all the time. And I think it's attainable. It does take some discipline, but it's attainable. And then when you get into the world of health, you start thinking in terms of, well, I also want to be free. I want to be free. I want my days, I want my schedule to be built by me each day. I don't want to have to get up and go to this place and sit there and make money for that guy. I want to be able to make money for me, because I trust me. I trust that I'm going to do the right thing with it. And I trust that I'm going to share and that I'm going to be generous. I trust that. And so in order for me to be able to give more, to be a giver, like I want to be, they have the expression be a go-getter. I like to use the expression be a go-giver. In order for me to be able to give more, which is what makes me feel good, like in the Bible that says, do unto others, or it says there's more happiness in giving than receiving. So if you're able to give more, it makes you healthier too, because the giving spirit is good for you. And so if I can make more money, that allows me to be more generous, which makes me even happier. It's a win-win all the way. That's how I feel about it. So now that I make more money.
Wonderful. I felt the resonance of that. Thank you so much, because it's not about words. It's about the expansiveness of heart and the power of intention.
Yeah, intention. Yeah, intention.
So I appreciate that. That was very, very helpful. I felt it resonating throughout. So again, people think it's words. It's not words. It's frequency. Where are you resonating? Are you a match to that frequency? And Savvy obviously is, and he's pulling that in for us. So those frequencies are contagious, and this is how we teach. This is how we teach.
That's how we teach. Yes, very good.
All right, I love it.
All right.
Thank you so much. All right, I think that is it. We're gonna wrap it up, and be sure to catch our next show, which we never know the topic until we're almost the day of, but I'll have another one because we enjoy this so much. So,
And it'll certainly be on health, that's for sure.
yeah, that sounds good. Okay, I'm going to stop our recording. Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate